Hello, everybody. Good morning and happy Thursday. We are with New Streaming Network, home of Going Solo, Going Bold, WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio. Welcome to your Health Vibes with Elana. And I'm Elana, your host, with your Health Vibes with Elana. My journey is to raise your heart, body, and soul vibes to the next level so you can transform your life today. And today, our topic is healing through art with the one, the only, my dot sister, Noemi. Come on down. I'm so excited for you to be here today. Welcome.
Hi, Elena. Thank you for inviting me today. I was so excited to talk to you.
I love our connects. We just recently connected, and it was so fun. We could talk for hours. So I'm so glad to have you here today. Yeah. Would you mind? I know about you, but I would love for you to kind of tell a little bit about yourself to the guest and the community out there for me.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I live in the beautiful island of Cyprus in the Eastern Mediterranean, and, it's a lovely place to live, but I was born and raised in Central Europe in Hungary and ended up living here in Cyprus and also lived in Ireland for 7 years. But that was a little bit of detour into the Mediterranean, into the rain and the cold, and ended up here. By trade, I'm a linguist. I studied Danish linguistics and literature and history, but ended up in the online marketing field in 2007. And together with my husband, we had an online travel-related business from 2007 up till 2020. And then we started our own podcast booking agency. So that's my little story and background. But I'm also an artist. I'm a mixed media collage artist. And I was always like a creative type. I'm self-taught. So I just came up with the idea how to create unique collages. Instead of using glue, I'm sewing basically my memories together. It's like a diary of my life and my Hungarian heritage. And that's what I do. And you can see the collages behind me, a few of them. I have loads of them, but these are a few of them that I like.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here. And actually, my grandfather is from Hungary. So, we've discussed that a little bit too before. Yeah. So that's a beautiful thing. I'm just so glad to be here. This is such an amazing thing. And I think, when you hear art, people think, is there a certain way to do it? How do you show up? Have you, with all this, maybe you can kind of tell of your journey of what got you into this art? Was it healing for you? Was it something that you said you did podcasting, things like that, but maybe you could tell a little bit your story. I would love to hear your story.
Absolutely. I would love to share that. So yeah, the first collage actually was born before my son was born. I was expecting with my son, and somehow it just from the universe sent me this message that I should make these collages, these mixed media collages. And, I just started to make them, and that was 13 years ago. And since then, I can just stop, making them. I became part of different art communities. I traveled abroad. I had a few art exhibitions here in Cyprus and in other countries too. And I really enjoyed the process. But the healing part came into the picture in 2019, exactly in 2020, because in 2019, my dad passed away because of cancer and my grandma because of an accident. So it was a tough year on me. And then COVID happened and lost the business because it was travel related. So it was a lot going on for me, and it was really hard to cope with it. So what I did in 2020, when the pandemic happened, I just completely created my own artistic bubble in Cyprus. So I stopped watching the news. I stopped watching TV. I stopped scrolling on social media. And what I did instead, I started to make my collages. So I basically went back to art. So every evening I had a ritual. I went into my room and I, listening to some music, audiobooks or podcasts. And then I started to make these collages and sewing them together. And it was a form of like meditative practice for me. It was so soothing. It was like a catharsis for me. It was beautiful. So after month and month, I was just creating these collages and I got calmer and I feel so much better. and help with my grief, with my anxiety. And then I thought, like, if this could help me, I can help other people in the future. And so I did a few courses on art therapy, positive psychology, and now I'm getting on podcast and sharing my message and sharing my story about it.
Oh, I love that so much. And with all this, healing is such a beautiful thing that there's so many modalities to it. Now, with art, are there, so many people when they show up, some people like, can I not do it? I'm not good at this. Do you have some tips or, maybe we could talk about building, I've seen some of your stuff, building emotional resilience and certain things. Sometimes we get in our head, you think of art and you think, oh, I can't do this, or it has to be a certain way. But that's why I love art and healing, because anybody could do it, right?
Absolutely. And you don't have to be an artist in order to do that, because so many people think it's like, oh, I'm not an artist, I'm not creative, I was bad at painting or drawing at school, so I can't do anything. But that's actually not true. I mean, yes, art is so therapeutic. It's
Stephanie.
good at and it is therapeutic. And so when you just grab a piece of paper and a magazine and a pair of scissors and glue, and then you make a collage. And my 4-year-old, when he was 4-year-old, he could make it. So I mean, you can finger paint, you can do so many things, and it's so easy. And if you have some coloring pencils and a coloring book, that's a therapeutic tool. It's a form of meditation. There's so many things that are present, and you don't even have to show to the world. You don't have to be an artist just yet. Just dedicate some time for yourself. And I always recommend this kind of 3 steps process to people. So first of all, explore different art forms, whichever suits you. It doesn't have to be drawing. It can be cooking. It can be dancing. It can be drumming, anything. And then schedule time for it. The second, schedule time for it. Like put it on your calendar. It's important, because small steps approach is important. So if you choose just 5-10 minutes per day, that's huge. I mean, you can start with it. And also, you can also be part of a community and join an art community, because community is important, just, about belonging to somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And, with this, and I think with art, you could really truly express yourself, because it's really coming from you. Maybe we can dive a little bit deeper on this healing process. Maybe you can give some other motivation tips or things to really, some other, ideas.
Absolutely. It's so important, because, as I said, it's a form of relaxation. You can express all these hidden dark emotions that you don't want to share with the world, and other people might find disturbing, but then you don't swipe it under the carpet, but you put it in an artwork, or you dance it out, or you move your body, or you sing, whatever you choose. Just do something, because it's amazing for your self-esteem. I mean, whatever you create, you become more. You're connecting something on a deeper level, and that's pretty amazing. And it really helps to figure out who you are, because sometimes we lose ourselves in this process when we're grieving, when we and there are so many, there are like 40 types of different grief that we can experience during our life. It can be just death. It can be anything else, a heartbreak, lose of a friend, lose of a pet. So there's so many things that we can do to help our body to heal from that. And also just being mindful and just connecting with our soul and body at the same time. It's so important.
It really is. My friend has an art studio, and I've been going over there and doing art journaling. And it's been really magical and very therapeutic for me, because I was always kind of the one, my grandma's an artist, my sister's a beautiful artist. And, I would allow myself to get in my head more of, oh no, I'm not good, or this is not going to look like. And then when, you take a little art class or do something, but what you said, what I really love, it really comes from me. My art is unique to who I am, how I want to show up. It's not how anybody else does. Do you have any stories or any other stuff that, that you told someone about this, or a story that has really helped someone else heal in this journey, or a special art project that they've come back to? My sister got to come for the art days as well. And it's really fun to see everybody's beautiful uniqueness.
Absolutely. And art journaling, as you mentioned, it's a beautiful way to journal, but in a more creative way. And I do that too when I have time, and I love it. Yeah, a story that connects to that. It's about my mom. because when the pandemic hit, she actually stranded here in Cyprus. I mean, it's a good place to strand, but there were no flights coming in and out. So she ended up living with us, which wasn't an easy ride. I mean, with everything going on in the world. So, I mean, I really felt sorry for her, honestly, because she just, some stages she wanted to just get home from us.
Yeah.
So what I did, and because she was a kindergarten teacher for 40 years, she always liked art. Yay. she has patience. And so what I did, I had a few coloring books and of course coloring pencils, and I gave it to her, and it's like, Mom, maybe you should start coloring these because you will feel so much better and faster after that. And I think she finished 2 books by the time she was ready to go home. But she felt so much calmer, and she had a dedicated time every afternoon when like things got a bit busy at home. She just went away with her coloring books, and it was magical. It really helped her to relax.
I love that. And maybe we could talk a little bit more of like finding that relaxation. We're so stressed, and maybe you could give a few things on what this relaxation does for you and how you can show up for yourself in that realm.
Absolutely. So it has been proven. It's just, I didn't come up with this idea, but like creating art, whatever art form you're doing, it really helps to increase the serotonin level in your brain, which also helps fight depression. So it's like, it's a medicine when you create something and when you stick to it. And it's also important that to be consistent with it, because doing something just once or twice, it's like going to the gym. We're not going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger after 2 times in the gym. So you just rinse and repeat and try to stick to it. Put it in your routine and create a sacred place and space and time for it when you can really relax. And there's no phone around, no scrolling around, no screaming kids around, no spouses around, but that's your sacred place and time. And that's really important. And maybe you can just do it in your bedroom, or you have a little, room where you can do that. I think that's really important.
Yeah. I love that. One of the things I really love that maybe we could talk about a little bit more is 3 words that you kind of say, like feel, seen, and heard.
Yes.
And that's how I love to run with my clients and do that. So maybe we can expand on that a little bit more of feeling seen, feeling heard through this and the energy that it can give, because I think we all just want to be acknowledged. We all want to be seen, and we all want to be
Absolutely.
So maybe we can expand a little bit more on that, and maybe someone who's feeling down or, either way, but just kind of expand a little bit more about that.
Yes, we're feeling seen, heard, and valued are basics in our society. I mean, in families, in relationships, and because that means that we are loved, we are acknowledged what we do. And creating art, it's again helps us with this kind of emotional vulnerability to feel seen, heard, and valued in something that we're doing. And we are expressing our emotions. We are open. We are vulnerable, and that's the key. Because if we just keep everything inside, we can bottle up everything inside. That would lead to so many, horrible things like depression, anxiety, and we just need to get it out of our system. And I also tell people, for example, have a morning routine, for example, if you have time and if you can do it, for example, in the morning, that's pretty amazing. I have a morning routine where I drum for 5 minutes, when I meditate for 10, 15 minutes. It's not a long time. And we all have 10, 15 minutes to do that. I also do some journaling. I also do some gratitude journaling. And that's like, I do that like 4 or 5 times a week. I don't do it every day because weekend is like, maybe I skip it because I maybe, stay longer in bed. I enjoy that too. But during the week, I always stick to this routine. And once you start doing something at least for 21 days, then it will become a habit of yours. So that will really help to cope with anything that come up in life.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's such a good thing, because we store so many emotions, and to be able to express that way, because some people may not be able to express verbally. Where I can express verbally, I have a hard time writing. So verbal is good for me, and the artwork, really, I can express myself, because written version of me is not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I love your sound message, voice messages, and everything that you send me, and that's how I love writing. You love leaving voice messages, and it's so cool that because we are all different, and at the same time we are the same. So
yes, and I love that you say that. Maybe we can expand a little bit. We are all different, but all at the same. It's like I kind of joke that we are like sausages with casings. It's like we're all the same on the inside. We're just maybe a different appearance on the outside, but maybe we can expand on we're all human.
yes, absolutely. And what I love about the place I'm living, it's Cyprus, it's so multicultural, especially now. And it's amazing that we can all live together in peace and harmony with my German, with my Ukrainian, with my Russian, with my Scottish neighbor. And we are come from different places. We represent different things in life. We may think different things about different things that politics or whatever. I don't like talking about that, but we are still human. We can live together on a tiny island, on a small island like Cyprus. And I love, for example, like at my son's school, he goes to a private school, and they have about like 13, 14 different nationalities in one class. And that's how we really appreciate being different, but at the same time, all the same. It doesn't really matter our skin color, our where we come from, which country, what kind of accent we have. We are all the same.
I love that because, I think with everything going on in the world, it's, we're all human. We all want to connect. And, I think connecting by that is such a beautiful thing. You came to the US for the first time recently, right?
Hey. Yes, I did.
And, I just think everything, just showing up and every place is different and having, different feel and experience of that. I don't know if you want to expand a little bit on your trip or any, not differences, but, just I've grown up here, you've grown up there, different elements and whatnot, bringing this in, were you able to bring in your art when you were traveling? And, when you travel, do you get to show up that way for yourself too? Maybe you're not in your own home, but when you're traveling, how do you get to show up and do your artwork for that?
Yeah, I mean, during my trip, I was just solely focusing on myself, and it was like really a me time. Like it was self-care, and it was all about hiking and nature because that's the other thing I love. But I can always show up with my art because it's not only about collage making or stuff, but I love taking photographs, like nature photos, like the golden light in the afternoon. And it's just beautiful. So wherever I go, it doesn't matter if I hike or not. Maybe I slow down. I'm the slowest person probably, but I always take photos. Like I stop and I take photos because these are like part of me. And I love capturing these very, very special moments in my life. And so I did that while I was in North Carolina. And it was amazing. It's beautiful nature, and I really enjoyed it. I could really align with the place, and it was a very welcoming place. But it took me 45 years to get to the US. So
and you got to come back and visit me in California.
Yes, I promise I will do that. Yeah, I would love that.
So I think that's a good thing. I think people think I can only do something like in my home or your own, and that's what I love about art is you can take it anywhere. You don't have to be just at home. You can take it while you're driving. You can take it on a trip or, wherever you're at. That's what I love about this because you can make it your own. There's no specific way to show up, right?
Absolutely. It's so true. It's unique. It's unique for everyone.
And I know, is there any fun like projects? I know you said that we can come up with stuff, but is there a few things that you really love to do that maybe you could share with someone that is trying to start to get creative? And what are some fun other art projects or things that someone could do?
Yes, I always share this with podcast audience that I love making a gratitude tree. And what you do is like you only need like a jar or something. You put some stones in it, like pebbles or whatever that you find, and then you have a branch, like a tree branch, and you put it in there. So it's like you can put it in a vase, or you can put it in a it's just like a wherever, like. Yeah. And then you are just cut out these small cards and you can write it on what kind of things you are grateful for in life. Mm-hmm. And like every day you just hang one little card in the tree. And like, after 30 days, you have 30 things that you are grateful for, because you have to, think about, how how grateful we are that like we breathe, we have something to eat, we have a shelter above our head, we have money to pay
Right.
the bills. And so it can be anything, and it's a fun art project because it's just so easy. And it's also I'm all about gratitude in life, and I think it's really important. So it's like art combined with gratitude. So you can make a gratitude jar. A gratitude jar is a cool thing too, because you don't need a branch, you just need
Yeah.
a jar, like basically. And you can all put this, like every day you put these little gratitude papers, cards into the jar. And when you're feeling low or down, and when something is not going right in your world, you can just pick one and see what that card holds. It's like a fortune cookie, but the gratitude cookie is like, okay, so what is it for me today? Like, be grateful that the sun is shining and the birds are singing, or something, anything.
Oh, I love that so much because, I think sometimes it's like the littlest things that matter.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think that we need to show up and be this big extravagant thing and have these things happen. But I love that you can do these little things to show up for yourself and be, a part of this healing. Art is such a beautiful thing. Um, does this happen in schools, or is this going on in schools? And do with art, is art still going on? And is this like, would you ever take this to a school program? Because I think for kids as well, this is such a beautiful thing. Do you think more schools need art in there? Are they having this type of programs or things like that to start them young and be able to express themselves through art?
I would love it. Kids would do more art, for example, at my son's school. But everything is so focused on math, on the basic, like basic studies like English and science and everything. But art
Right.
is so precious, and it's just so important. So yeah, it would be amazing to kind of open this up for schools and have just maybe more art lessons at schools too, and not just like learning drawing, but like, for example,
Yeah.
doing this gratitude jar or
Mhm.
something, because it's so simple. And even kids, especially, like, I think teenagers, like, they really need to learn to be grateful for things or thankful for things, because they're not so much what I experience, in my own family. So I
Yeah.
think it's for fun to do that with kids too, not just with adults, and to start it at an earlier age so they can learn so many things about themselves too.
Yeah. And, also I work with seniors, and when I go to the senior homes, they do a lot of the artwork. And I think it's very therapeutic
Yeah.
for them because they can really express, we've done fun little like paint by numbers and other things, just to
Yeah.
get their minds going. So I think no matter what, the young, the old, anybody, as what you said, could do it. But I think it's such a beautiful thing to have. And just the fact that you get to help others to do this and show up for themselves, I love. So two things. I'm going to change the trajectory in a second, but with this art stuff, how could someone work with you? Or is there, something that someone can do in this field? If someone, wanted to reach out and they needed some support, or do you have any programs in this art world to work with you?
Yeah. Actually, there's a presentation coming up for me, and very soon. It's basically connected to my Hungarian heritage. It's going to be like a Hungarian expo, and my presentation is going to be about how to create homage to your heritage. And it's basically it's to someone who has Hungarian heritage in their blood, like you, Elana, and. And then they can also sign up for a 4-week kind of course where I will teach them every week how to create collages based on your, on your memories and old postcards or anything that you have at home. Because there's so many people struggle with it, that I have so many memories that they are just in the closet, maybe in a box, and I never see them. So how to present them, how to be part of my life and just put it on my wall or give it away as a gift. So it's just amazing opportunity. So that's my project, which is coming up, and people can join basically for free. But if you want to just watch the replay, you can, you have to pay for it. But otherwise, it's free to join, and yeah, you can learn how to make these homage collages,
I
and
love
it will be
that.
fun.
That is such a great idea. Yeah, I'm really big about pictures and memories, and
Mm,
wherever I go, I'm like, I want a picture, I want a video. Even at my wedding, they said I really wanted to hear people's voices,
yeah.
and to be able to show up that way. And I think to be able to create those memories is so helpful because exactly, I'm like, where do I do? How do I do this? How do I show, and then you end up not doing it and then they just get lost or thrown in the
Yeah,
corner. um,
absolutely.
I love that, this healing through art. And you also had mentioned earlier, podcast connections and owning, podcasts with that. If you could tell a little bit more, you have been so wonderful for me. You have shown up and the guests that you have given me have been magical. And that's another reason why I wanted you on here was to show, you really show up for people. You listen to them, you're honest, you're raw, you get what you get online and offline, which I think is so beautiful. But the way you show up for others is really special.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So yeah, we have our podcast booking agency and we have entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, healers, authors to get on quality podcast shows like yours. And that's what we do. And yeah, we help them to be better guests and to prepare them for the interviews and also have them with repurposing the content because nothing stops when the episode goes live. Actually, that's when magic happens because you start repurposing the content and tagging the host, important. And so we do all that and help our clients with.
When you help your clients, what are some things that they can do with you, and how do you help them to move on the process? Someone's looking into something. What is it that you guys show up and able to do for someone?
Yeah, so we start always with a strategy call, which / like we can call it a coaching session, although I don't like the word coaching, but it is what it is. So we do that. So we go through their bios, we go through their topics, we go through their talking points. If they don't have a podcast guesting one sheet, we create one. If they don't have a call to action for a podcast, we help them to brainstorm one. So it's like a 1 hour long session when we go through everything step by step. And that's key when you start, podcast guesting, because not everybody has 20 years experience of podcast guesting. No one, maybe some people because they started earlier enough in the podcasting business, but so many people need advice on that. And many of our clients are also keynote speakers, but keynote speaking and podcast guesting are so different. I mean, this is like what we're doing here. It's a friendly conversation between two people. And a keynote speaking is not about that. It's just you and the stage and the audience. So it's so different.
It definitely is. And I think, with podcasts, sometimes I think we overthink it or do this is beautiful. We got to connect the other day, and that's what, I tell people, it's just like us having a conversation, but it's live, and that's what I love about us is that we could show up this way. It is live. This is what you get. And this is who we are. And that's what I love, the connection. There's no, editing to this. If something happens, something happens. And that's what I love about us is showing up authentically. So thank you so much for being here and showing up. And, we're going to be closing up soon, but is there any other tidbits? Is there any other kind of final thoughts that you would like to share with us or, let someone know? This is just, we could talk for hours. But
I know we could do that for a very, very long time. So for me, it's like whatever you do in life or in business or art, just keep going. That's my motto in life, because there's so many things happening around us and we tend to just give up on things, give up on our life, give up on our projects, give up on our relationships. But if we can just try to just keep going and do things consistently and persistently, we always reach our goals no matter what. And this is also in personal life and in business too. I think that's just it's really important for me. I don't have any tattoos, but if I had one, that would be the just keep going. And the other one is the let them, because I'm reading the book now, Mel Robbins' book, and I love it. And that's the other one. That's like let them, because it's not everything about you. It's about other people, and it's not your fault the way they behave, but you can just let them to be what they are and what they want to do, and everybody just lives their own lives.
Right. And I love that. I love that you say that, because that's what I love about you. You let people be who they are. You let them show up. And even with the guests you give me, who I need. And so that's what I love, is that you're not showing up for, of course we're showing up for ourselves, but you show up for your gut. You show up for what they need and what's good for them, not what's good for you and your stuff. Because I think so many times we're like, I want to be on this, or I want to do this. We're thinking more not selfishly, but more that. But what I love is you think about the client, you think about the person, and exactly, you let them be who they are. And I'm just grateful for that and that opportunity with you.
Yeah.
Is there any other way that anybody can work, or your website or anything to get a hold of you? Would you like to share that too, of how we can get in touch with you?
Sure.
Because everybody needs to get in touch with you.
Yes, please. No. So if you want to continue the conversation with me, or if you want to know more about podcast guesting, or about collage making, about podcast guesting, you visit our website, which is podcastconnections.co. And you can always find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active and I love that platform. So just type my name in. Yeah, Noemi Beres. And if you are interested in more my artsy side, then visit my Instagram page, which is Noemi Beres, but it's a very different things I'm doing there. So you can check that out too.
I love that you have a variety of ways to work with you and be able to show up for you. So thank you so much for being here. It made my heart so happy. I am Elana with your Health Vibes with Elana. And our topic today was healing through art with the beautiful Dot Sister. And so, thank you guys for being here today. And please reach out to her. She is amazing and everybody needs to get to know her. So I will see you all next week. Oh, sorry. No, not next week, the week after. And you can reach me at bi-weekly. I'm like, whoa, I want to say so much. Here we go. You can join me Thursdays bi-weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific time to begin raising your vibration, heart, body, mind, and soul. And you can reach me at ef11ca@gmail or yourhealthvibes.com. That's a mouthful. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Sending you a really big hug. And I cannot wait till I get to give you a real hug in California one of these days. Bye for now.